Entertainment talk radio at its best with Kaye Dee and Motormouth on 103.1 WEOM FM.
The Kaye Dee and Motormouth radio show. We're on top of the world. On RadioDNANetwork.com and 103.1 FM WEOM. Hi, everybody. This is Kaye Dee.
And I'm Motormouth here. How y'all doing today?
We're coming at you from RadioDNANetwork.com and with our affiliate, WEOMFM.com. And we're going to talk about the Michael Dunn, Jordan Davis trial.
Yes, that's a very interesting trial that's going on in Florida, in case people don't know. I don't remember the city. Was it Miami, Fort Lauderdale?
I'm thinking it was Jacksonville.
Okay, Jacksonville. I know it was somewhere south there.
Right, right. We actually covered it when the incident happened. I guess it was like 2 summers ago.
Yeah, I think it was somewhere around there.
Yeah, and this occurred after the Trayvon Martin situation occurred, which is, even though it's a different scenario, there was a lot of things that were very parallel, in my opinion, with the two cases.
Mm-hmm.
And did you sit back and listen to any of it at all, Motormouth, this weekend, on Valentine's Day weekend?
No, not really. I just heard what was on the news and everything. I didn't really follow it. I did read a couple things on online,
right?
But actually, as it was going on, I didn't follow it, day by day. When I really got into it, I think the jury was already deliberating.
Right. Well, I kind of followed it for about 2 days, and when they got to the deliberation part where they were going to go into the third day, I kind of tuned out. A few things that came to my mind, even though we both now we know that the verdict has been reached, was I could not understand why they were making such a big point about whether or not Jordan Davis, that's the 17-year-old from Marietta, Georgia, that was actually shot. Well, we don't even have to say allegedly. He was shot by Michael Dunn.
Exactly.
Now, the thing that was interesting to me during the deliberation phase was they were making a big deal about whether or not Jordan Davis was actually shot inside the SUV or outside of the SUV.
Okay.
And I could not understand for the life of me where in the world the defense was going with this.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I'm looking back, and during the time span I was listening to it, I guess that was Dunn's way of trying to say that he was defending himself based on the stand your ground Florida laws.
Right. Okay.
But call me crazy, Motormouth, I just don't get it. I mean, I do get it, but I don't get it. I guess I'm saying I don't see what relevance it has whether he was inside the vehicle or outside the vehicle. And based on my memory, even though it was 2 years ago when we covered the story initially, I recall the investigators being at the convenience store. Remember that? They even had the photos.
Right.
Now, correct me if I'm remembering wrong, Motormouth. It was 2 years ago. But I recall the photos being, it's like they did the investigation. They had the yellow tape out and everything. And even the officer, so I thought, based on what I'm recalling, was saying that this shooting occurred inside the SUV.
Well, yeah, they said, he shot into the SUV, I think 9-10 times or something like that. But, the whole thing about his story or his alibi, it just don't make no sense. I mean, the man leave the scene of the accident, and then all the other little things that he claimed of his concern and everything, anybody else would not have been able to get away with that.
Right.
I mean, maybe a person of color. I'm just going to bring it down like it is, the way I see it. Because that was some of the things right there. If a black person had left the scene, they would have been charged for that. Then, driving 150 or how many miles?
About 115 miles to go back.
Away.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then didn't even notify the police or anything. They're going to say that he didn't think nobody got hit when he know good and well he shot. So right then and there, would take away his alibi of defending himself when he's saying he thought nobody got hit.
Because they were trying to say, was it reasonable or logical, the scenario, the way he described it. And for me, there was no logic involved. Because like you're saying, Motormouth, if I'm at a convenience store now and there's a vehicle next to me, and I'm going to reach into my glove compartment and pull out a vehicle and shoot into the, aiming at the vehicle next to me, I think it was like 9 or 10 times when this man actually shot.
Yeah.
There's no way that I would logically think that someone didn't get hit. And
exactly.
that's the part. Even if it was someone that wasn't even in the vehicle that I was aiming at, it's just the idea that you randomly shot that many times in a parking lot. So I'm like, it was everything he was saying. I really wasn't buying. So
Exactly.
the whole thing was crazy. And then with his girlfriend too, that was kind of bugging me because I'm thinking he was saying that this was the love of his life. I'm thinking, okay, they're down there for a wedding. I think it was his son's wedding. The love of his life, you know, they're at a convenience store. A scenario happens because he doesn't like someone's rap music. And there was a few things that he said regarding, you know, allegedly said in a letter that he wrote from prison regarding the situation. They had a little racial, I don't like to bring race into things, but he had little racial overtones, and I found that interesting that they didn't even allow that to be used as far as the trial itself, because to me it was relevant. They were trying to break down Jordan Davis's character, you know, presenting things that, you know, that make Jordan Davis look a certain way. Let's just put it that way.
Right.
So why not allow everything to present a well-rounded portrait of Michael Dunn?
Exactly.
The whole case was just a little bizarre to me. And even the verdict, to me, is still a little strange.
Yeah, it was very, very strange.
It's a little strange. And that's something I was trying to break down. Okay, I realize they're going to try him again. And I guess most people, you know, I'm assuming I shouldn't put words in people's mouth, but it's better than what happened with the case that was similar and parallel with George Zimmerman, you know.
Exactly.
So I guess you could look at, like, at least Michael Dunn is not walking away, but it's just the idea they're going to try him again because they want the first degree murder conviction. Is that what it is?
Well, now, the way I understand it, even if they get the first degree or not, still the second degree charges still stay in place, I think.
Right. So that's why I didn't quite get why they're going to try him again, because with the second degree verdict, he's going to be in prison, you know, for 60 years minimum, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Or is it, or does it mean, I realize it would be a stronger verdict if it was first degree, but with the things
see, with first degree
now,
go ahead.
Does that mean that if he went in there and, you know, for good behavior or whatever, he could actually get out before 60 years?
Well, maybe. I'm not for sure. But they could demand that X amount of years be served before he could come up to, you know, before the board and ask for permission or anything like that. But I think that the biggest thing to me is the difference is that with first degree murder, they can ask for the death
penalty. Yeah.
Right. With second degree, you cannot ask for that.
Gotcha.
Right.
Gotcha.
And then also, to me, it showed that the prosecutor really feel that it should be a death penalty, because if they were satisfied with all of that, they would just go ahead and settle the case and be, you know, satisfied.
Well, the whole thing was bizarre to me. I mean, I guess the defense to me was a little strange. I mean, Michael Dunn's defense. I mean, I shouldn't be surprised.
Well, they're going to do whatever they can do to
shouldn't be surprised.
Save their, how they say, their client.
Right. I understand.
Life.
I understand. It was just the craziest thing.
You know, the best way to say it.
And back to his girlfriend, I'm thinking, back to the so-called love of his life. Let me tell you one thing right now. Me and the love of my life are sitting at a convenience store. Somebody goes in, 10 shots go off. And we can just pull off and go right on back to the hotel room after the wedding celebration. We're going to order some pizza, make some rum and cokes, and just chill to the rest of the evening like nothing happened. We're going to drive on back to our domicile or whatever the following morning. And the cops, I'm going to wait for the cops to show up at my door. And this lady is wanting us to believe that she knew that Michael Dunn told her nothing about the shooting. I'm like, come on now.
Well, she had to know because she was there.
She had to know.
And I'm quite sure he didn't just get his car and just drive off quietly and softly or anything like that.
I can't buy that either. No, ma'am, I can't buy that. I'm sorry.
You know,
there's no way.
There's just too much going on.
There's too much that didn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
Now, she may want us to believe that, but I'm sorry, I'm not buying that at all. And it could be because some people were trying to suggest that she should come up for charges also, as far as being a conspiracy. Aiding and abetting, I think is what they call it.
All day long.
Yeah, but the whole thing was crazy.
I mean, but as I say, you know, if it was somebody of color, they would not have got that far with it and everything, and they'd be looking at life right now. And I don't think I'm wrong, because, I mean, you can just look at it and just go ahead and just take your average of what cases like that against a person of color bring.
You put Kaye Dee in that situation, and I go back to the room, and it takes this. Somebody got to write down my license plate. Come find me at a hotel room.
Yeah.
We sitting there chilling with some pizza and some rub, because they have to find me. And if I had shot 10 times in a vehicle and shot a white person, I mean, I'm just calling it like I see it, and I don't like to bring race in it. But you're right. They would have strung me, my cousins, mama them, cousins, nephews, old school teacher, anybody that even called my name would have been drug in. I mean, I don't like to bring race into it, but in this case, yeah, there is a little imbalance, I think, as to what occurred and what would have occurred had the shooter actually been a person
And I think
of color.
that's have a lot to do with the prosecutor, doing the case because everybody is not satisfied, and there's just too many cases like this going on in Florida with the stand your ground law.
Right.
So you just shoot a person and you just make a case that you stand in your ground, regardless if you're telling the truth or not, even if it don't make no logic.
It doesn't to me.
You can get off of it.
And I, honest to God, thought to stand your ground meant that you were standing your ground, meaning
on
your
property.
Your property.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it doesn't mean that, because I'm going to tell you right now, in Atlanta, if I shot it, everybody could get away with it logically and legally. They got on my nerve, irritated me. Music was too loud. I didn't like the fact that they were in a certain area I felt like they shouldn't be in, or I don't like their type of music. And half of the metro would be gone. I mean, it'd be the OK Corral over here, Gunsmoke.
I mean,
nobody would be left.
Or very good. just saying, every time that you pull into the gas station to get gas,
the gas station, the stoplight, the traffic light,
all the bass that you hear and everything, and the words,
the
and all of
grocery
this.
store parking lot, the mall parking lot, the school ground. Have you ever gone through a school ground in Metro Atlanta and picking up your child after school program?
Yeah.
Nobody would be here. So I don't get the Florida versions of stand your ground and their honest interpretation. I just don't buy it, and I still think it needs to be appealed. The whole law to me needs to be modified in Florida.
Well, it's just like this here to me. People talk about Mississippi, Alabama, Arkansas,
right.
Louisiana, and everything. Georgia, South Carolina,
Texas too.
North Carolina, Texas,
Mm-hmm.
but Florida. Okay,
oh yeah.
They're just in the same boat, if not worse than the others, especially with the cases that have been coming out of there lately on this stand your ground.
Right, like the movie theater incident, the movie theater shooting.
Exactly.
And then you can't bring race into that, but the whole thing was crazy. Again, why do you even need to take a gun inside of a movie theater? When it comes to the point where I have to take a loaded gun in a movie theater, I will be DVDing down at my home. I won't walk in another movie theater. It's just not going to happen anymore.
Exactly.
But this is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Really crazy. And he shot the guy, allegedly, because he
texting
pulled out his phone and he was texting. And the lady was saying that he was texting during the previews. The movie hadn't even started, but I guess it's just the idea. Yeah, we've all been somewhere where somebody's been texting, getting on your last nerve, but you can't shoot them.
But with Dunn, though, back to Dunn, though, my thing is, and nobody did a blood test.
Mm-hmm.
If the man
no
was
alcohol
drunk,
or blood test
right?
At all.
If he was drunk or
Prescription
whatever,
meds, nothing.
right? The mental state of mind that man was actually in,
right?
At that time of the shooting. I mean, they ain't did any. I mean, they haven't done anything to prove or anything, or I haven't heard nothing about his state of mind,
right?
State
because
of being,
if you recall, he left the scene of the crime and he went on back along his merry way. And technically, he didn't even. If I'm recalling, he turned himself into the authorities, but someone at the convenience store actually got his license plate anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So they went and tracked this little happy self down. That's pretty much what happened.
Yeah.
So
you don't know if this was a redneck and he got mad because there was some black guys with a white guy and they were playing some loud music. That might even got just like how they used to do with a black man with a white woman or a white man with a black woman, how they would have that hatred in them. You don't know what the actual demeanor or the ideology of this
mindset.
Man. Right, exactly.
His character is what should have been examined, not just his character.
Yeah.
But like you said, it's alcohol, drug, prescription meds,
whatever he was on.
But reality is, even if they had done it when he actually got to be face-to-face contact,
he was a software developer. That's what he was.
Computer programmer, software developer.
Yeah, so I guess he had some software he was punching that got him off of it.
The computer people suspect anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But I don't know.
Let me behave myself. I'm sorry.
He might have got tied up into those games or something. But yeah, I'm glad that they're retrying the case, and you can see what's going to happen because it's not over with yet.
Right. And let's not forget, stand your ground. And I was having the same discussion with a friend of mine this weekend about stand your ground and the difference in Florida versus Texas, where I've actually lived before. In Texas, stand your ground is pretty much so common until it's not like people make a joke out of it, but I would have neighbors that would leave to go out on vacation, would ask me to pick up the newspaper, and we would return the favor, just a neighborly thing to do. And the standing joke would always be, well, if something should happen, just make sure if somebody has to get wounded, have you heard this before, Mona?
Yeah, pull them inside your house.
Make sure you drag them in. I mean, it's a joke, but it's kind of like a little based on a little reality. Make sure they're drug in.
Yeah.
The whole body has to be in the perimeter of the property. So that mean you can just shoot somebody that comes to your door, passing out pamphlets or something, or trying to sell something. But you know what I'm saying? You have to meet like force with like force.
Yeah, well, they have the same law here in Georgia, you know, because I remember when this old man, the senior citizen, shot somebody. And they was trying to say the man's body was halfway in and halfway out.
Right.
And
which is crazy.
And they said, well, he should have just drugged him the rest of the way in. It would have been fine. But they didn't charge him or anything. He got, because the guy was breaking in his house.
Right. And I
or had broken into his house and was trying to leave, and he shot him.
Right.
Yeah.
And their stand your ground laws go back and reflect to you have to be able to say logically and legally you were defending your property.
Yeah.
Something
your property or yourself or
yourself.
Something. Right.
And if it's yourself, it has to be like force with like force. Meaning if someone approach you with with the popcorn, like the guy in the movie theater incident, you can't turn around and shoot somebody with a deadly weapon because they threw some popcorn at you.
Well,
That's
let's say
like
you can't. Let's say you're
not
supposed
to.
Right, because he did it. So you can't say he can't on that. But
right.
it's just but then again, it's a sad day and everything in this world when you really just see how much tension and stress people is really under, that they're not using common sense,
Everybody's on
or thinking twice before they make an action or.
Right.
Yeah, because I'm quite sure now that this happened and everything, everybody's sorry for the action, because a life was lost, as far as Jordan is going, go about. And then Dunn, Dunn lost his life and is not going to be able to enjoy his love of his life,
Right, and then his daughter, who's been in the media, his daughter's very upset. I mean, there's no win-win in the situation. Really.
Jordan parents, they're upset. They got a son that they can't see graduate and have grandkids by and all this other stuff. So, as I say.
And then this weekend would have been his 19th birthday.
Yeah, right.
So can you imagine Valentine's Day weekend, you have to deal with the idea that your child
or
no
just
longer
even
here?
the court still, right, all of that.
To be sitting in the court system, dealing with this. Can you imagine?
Yeah, so there's a lot of, families.
Right.
Well, both families are suffering, from what had happened on somebody's, super. That's the reason I said they should have did a blood test or something on this man to find out something, because what he did just wasn't logical, because he should have, if he was standing his ground, he should have stayed there and been there and told the police, I was standing my ground and everything, instead of leaving the scene of an accident.
And having to be located and found.
Right.
And on top of it, the blood test, even though it's irrelevant, because reality is you can't go back and get something. I mean, it's in the past. It happened like it happened.
Yeah.
But it's just the idea, too, that he wanted us to believe that he looked up and saw, 9 or every
a pipe or shotgun or whatever.
The barrel of the shotguns and all this other kind of stuff. But yet, during the investigation,
no weapons.
There were no weapons found at all in the SUV.
Well, he had to make up an alibi for something, for his action, and that's the bottom line.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But, over the weekend when I was listening to the trial again, they were trying to make it seem like, they weren't trying to make it seem like they were saying that, Dunn wanted us to believe, the general public to believe, that it was possible that they actually had time to hide the weapons. And again,
how do he know when he left the scene of the accident?
I'm just telling you what the man wanted us to believe.
Yeah, I mean, here you coming up here trying to say what might have been possible. What was, actual, you left the scene of the accident, so you don't know what was going on.
And he said he fled the scene of the crime because he was afraid that they were like gangsters and they would come after him and kill him. And
again, I said he must have been on something, hallucinating, and all the rest of the stuff. That sound like somebody owns something.
And then,
you know what I'm saying?
Don't you think if you were so afraid that you had to pull out your gun, reach in the glove, and shoot 9, 10 times, and you flee the scene of the crime, what am I going to be doing while I'm hauling it up out of there?
Yeah.
If I think they're coming after me. You think I'm going to go back to the hotel room, order me a pizza and a drink? I don't think so.
Yeah.
I'd have been calling 911. I would have been at the police department before they even realized what happened.
I mean, quiet as
scared to death based
I mean,
on what he told us.
I mean, quiet as it is, we don't know if the man is an alcoholic or drug addict. We don't know what the man is on.
Oh, that might have been that must have been a heck of a wedding.
I mean, because that's what I'm saying. Already, you coming from a wedding. Was you drinking? You know more than likely he had a drink or two, even if it was nothing more than the toast. The champagne.
Serious partying at their wedding. That's all I can say.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
But anyway, let's just take a quick station break, Motormouth. We're gonna take a quick break, and you guys, thanks for listening with us. Thanks for being with us, and we'll be back.
Okay.
You've been listening to Kaye Dee and Motormouth on RadioDNANetwork.com.
Live and in full effect, this is Black Leaf online. And whenever I listen to the radio, I listen to WEOM 103.1 FM with Kaye Dee and Motormouth.
Join the fun on the Kaye Dee and Motormouth radio show on RadioDNANetwork.com.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Kaye Dee and Motormouth, and we've been talking about the Jordan and Dunn case. I can't remember Jordan's last name.
Jordan Davis.
Jordan Davis.
Of Marietta, Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
And Michael Dunn.
Okay, yes, of Florida. Right. Okay, yeah, so we were just wrapping that up and mentioning that they're going to have another trial they pushing for first-degree murder.
Right.
Right, which will bring the death penalty, or they can ask for it.
Right.
Or life in prison.
Versus what they already achieved this weekend, Valentine's Day weekend, which was a second-degree murder?
Mm-hmm, which will bring 30 years on each case that they found him guilty of.
Right.
Which I think was a total of 60.
60 years in prison.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But it's going to be an interesting case to see. It's going to be interesting just overall to see what's going to happen when they retry it again. Mm-hmm. Just like along, not the same situation, but another interesting court case that I think is going to be coming up soon. I don't know about soon, but I think it's going to be interesting. It's with the King family in Atlanta.
Yes.
With Bernice King and her brothers. I'm like, oh my goodness, that is just disheartening to me. But it is what it is, and it's going to be something that's going to be interesting to see what's going to happen with their family feud, for lack of a better word.
Exactly.
But along the same line, not really a court case, but just something that I was looking into since it is Black History Month.
Yeah.
Which I found to be still funny that we get the shortest month of the year to do a little Black History. But, we should do a little Black History year-round, don't you think, Motormouth?
Mm-hmm. Every day.
Yeah, just a little bit. Can't hurt.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, there's this nonprofit organization. They've been around for over 20 years. And again, I'm not sponsoring them. I'm not representing. I don't get anything. It's just something that I thought that was going on that was a nice organization. I'm just going to throw a little blurb out. It's called the Adopt a Dorm Program, and it happens at Tuskegee Institute in Alabama. If you want to volunteer, you want to do something when you want to write off, they accept all skill levels. You don't have to be an expert or anything, but they go down over in the month of July. And they just go down and they just kind of renovate the dorms down there. But anyway, again, if you're interested, don't contact me. I'm not over it. Contact the guy by the name of Larry Jimerson or his wife, Elizabeth. They call her Twiggy Jimerson. And you can email him. He's at Big Jim. It's 46 at AOL.com. It's BIGJEM as in a gemstone. 46, number 4 and a 6 at AOL.com. And that's my little Black History tip of the month, Motormouth. Anything you want to throw out there?
No, just make every day a Black History Day,
Right.
Teach something about the people or your people and the sacrifice that have been made for the people of color and the people white, because there's been white people that helped the black people.
Right.
In the movement And but just keep it alive.
You know, diversity, really. Even though we look at black history, we just think about black people. There really have been people of color overall who really fought for the struggle. It really has been. And like you said, we need to preserve it. And I think the problem is now that beyond Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, if they get that, that's pretty much it. We think, but that's just my opinion.
Yep.
It's about all they get. That's about it. So like Motormouth was saying, you know, in summary, each one teach one. We appreciate you and hope all is well in your world.
Yes, and remember, keep your head towards the sky.
Right. And in the meanwhile, hang in there in peace and grace.
Peace.
The Kaye Dee and Motormouth Radio Show on top of the world on WEOM 103.1 FM. On RadioDNANetwork.com.
103.1 FM WEOM.